last night, and the first thing he said is, please let me clarify two things. I'm from Germany, not from the USA. Second, I do hold a law degree, but I'm not a doctor. So our next panelist is Neil Narriman from Germany, who, as global head of the intellectual property at Puma, one of the leading brands in sporting goods, is in charge of Puma's intellectual property department worldwide. In his current position, he is responsible for all legal aspects with regard to the protection and enforcement of Puma's intellectual property rights. Besides being a regular speaker at various seminars and events, he is also chair of the IPR committee and acting vice president of the Federation of the European Sporting Goods Industry, and a member of several international IP organizations, such as ACIP, INTA, and APM. He will be giving us a general presentation on the most recent developments on counterfeiting in the sporting goods industry, and especially what actions can be taken against it. Please welcome Neil Narriman.
I will use the microphone. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. That's for tonight. Thank you very much for the introduction. It's always good to hear nice words about yourself. As I was introduced, I'm heading up the IP department of Puma. But as it was also mentioned, I'm vice president of the Federation of the European Sporting Goods Industry and chairing the IPR committee of FESI. I thought it might be a good idea not only to speak on behalf of Puma and as a representative of my company, but representing the sporting goods industry, namely the European sporting goods industry. We have a very strong federation in Europe, very active in lobbying the European legislator and also the laws of the respective member states of the European Union. I would like to focus or address some of the topics that are being discussed and have been discussed at the level of our federation and what we have achieved in Europe. I don't want to leave the impression that whatever we have achieved when it comes to enforcement in Europe, that anything is better in Europe than in Latin America. The reason why some things are running a bit smoother for right holders, especially from the sporting goods industry in Europe, is that many of those companies started in Europe. These are European companies. It's our home turf. The biggest markets used to be in Europe. This has slightly changed, especially also for my company. Latin America has become the most successful market, and due to this fact, also our problems when it comes to anti-counterfeiting and enforcing our rights in Latin America are getting bigger and bigger. So I would like to show you some examples of what we have to deal with, what we have to cope with, obstacles, challenges. The challenge of giving a presentation in that kind of environment where you have a certain topic is not to repeat anything that has already been said by others. So I hope I don't touch things that have already been discussed. The sporting goods industry is divided in three sectors. Our members, the members of FESI, produce textiles, apparel. When it comes to my company, the biggest or the main product that we have is our football jerseys, obviously. The second sector is footwear, sport and fashion shoes. And the third big sector pillar is equipment such as golf clubs, tennis rackets, protective gear, skis, whatever. And all these companies that are representing the sporting goods industry are facing problems when it comes to the enforcement of their rights. So the sporting goods industry is heavily targeted, and if you look at the statistics, unfortunately I don't have any statistics when it comes to Latin America. In Europe, we know from statistics that the sporting goods industry is one of the most affected industries when it comes to counterfeiting, especially when it comes to footwear and football jerseys. Our companies, like my company, and our competitors like Nike, Adidas, every day we receive notifications when it comes to the importation of fake football jerseys. In 2015, last year, the European Trademark Office published a study which showed that counterfeiting in clothing, footwear and accessories sector caused approximately 43 billion of lost sales. I'm always a bit cautious when it comes to these numbers. Of course, my bosses also ask me, okay, what did we save? So what are your results? So tell me a number, how much money did we save because you are there? And I said, I don't know. It's very difficult to say how much damage companies suffer from counterfeits that are being sold. I know that whatever we do is necessary in order to keep this phenomenon under control. As it says here, an additional 500 million are lost in the EU every year due to the sales of fake sports equipment, namely the skis and golf clubs and what you use in order to do sports. The Olympics are upcoming this year. Other tournaments in Europe, we have the Euro 2016. These are big opportunities for counterfeiters to sell their products, and again a number that has to be verified, but it says that during those tournaments the sale of counterfeits is increasing by 500%. On the following slides, I would like to. Is it working? I will focus on the challenges that we face when it comes to counterfeits. The biggest problem is that counterfeiters are obviously not stupid, so whatever we do, usually they are one step ahead, and we can come up with security features and designs that are difficult to copy or whatever. They will always be able to be faster and quicker because they need less time, less money to produce their products. Because the biggest workload when it comes to designing and coming up with new products lies with the original right holder. And when I started my job in brand protection, like 16, 17 years ago, it was, in the retrospective, it was quite easy to handle all these issues. So there was an upcoming new internet platform, auction platform, eBay, nothing else. I had to deal with customs in some countries' jurisdictions. The main issue was to instruct my lawyers whenever they notified me about a container that was coming into the country, like 20,000 pairs of shoes, 40,000 fake football jerseys. I just gave instructions, seize the container, that's it. This landscape has completely changed. We barely seize containers with 20,000 pairs of shoes or 40,000 jerseys. This is really, really rare. We have small consignments coming in. We have to deal with fake invoices. It's very difficult for customs to even find the products. We just saw all these security features of befriended companies like New Era or Pandora. Of course, Puma also has security features, but to get there, to identify a product, if it's genuine or not, before that comes, before this stage, you have to find actually the product, and how difficult it is sometimes you couldn't see on the next slides. This was a seizure of, because I'm also talking about accessories. Puma has a license for watches. And this is a watch dial which was seized, I don't know, 100,000 watch dials. And it was not a big package, but apparently these watches are sent in different consignments. In one consignment you will find the watch dial, in the other consignment the straps, the glass, whatever, the crown of the watch. And when I received the notification of regarding this seizure, I said, okay, it's a clear-cut case. Please file a criminal complaint and proceed with this matter. Clear-cut case. It says Puma. A couple of days later, I received an email. No, customs don't want to seize this because it doesn't say Puma. And I was like, it says Puma, but no. It only says Pum, and then you see a letter which could be anything, but not an A. So customs decided not to seize these watch dials on the basis of a criminal procedure, but we had the option either to file a lengthy and costly administrative procedure or also a lengthy and costly civil procedure, which we did, but it takes some time, and these watch dials are still not seized. Same happened with this watch. Everybody would say, this is a Puma watch. Customs said, no, it doesn't say Puma. You might think that it says Puma, but it doesn't say Puma. Same story here. We had a seizure, Puma watches with the leaping cat. The next consignment, I think 11,000, 12,000 watches. We're coming just with a watch, looking like this one, but the leaping cat, our logo is missing. And instead of the leaping cat, there are two holes. And most probably, the importer of these watches is importing the leaping cat alone in order to assemble the watches after importation. So we were not able to seize these watches, even though we already know that these non-branded watches will become a Puma watch. These shoes, and this example shows how important it is to communicate and to train customs. And a lot of customs that we have trained with the help of all our enforcement lawyers are that well trained that they really do a great job, a great risk analysis, and whenever they find sport shoes, they take a closer look, a second look, and what happened here is that all our trademarks were hidden under a piece of cloth. So, and here again. So just thanks to having trained these customs officers to take a second look at any kind of sport shoe that is being imported, no matter what the invoice says, we found, luckily, a container of fake shoes. Our biggest recent case in Uruguay. This is the Uruguayan national football jersey, and apparently it was very difficult to have this one seized. We are talking about, Diego, help me, how many? I think 30,000 football jerseys without the Puma brand, worth $1 million if it was an original product. And without the trademark, we were not able to have these products seized. Thanks to our lawyers who came up with the idea to file trademark registrations and industrial designs for all our national football jerseys that we sponsor, we were able to have these fake Uruguayan jerseys seized. So the original would look like that. As already mentioned, the most important thing for us, and that's why we travel around the world, we meet our lawyers, meet customs officers, police officers, communication, training, authorities, from our point of view, is one of the most important things when it comes to the enforcement, and we call it public-private cooperation. Of course, there should be cooperation on every level, with not only with authorities, among brands, idealistic also among lawyers, even if they are competitors when it comes to their brands that they are representing. And in many cases it already works, that not only brands are trying to work together, but also the lawyers behind brands. So what is public-private cooperation? The WCO, the World Customs Organization, organizes from time to time, and like every 3 years in different regions of the world, big orchestrated seizures covering a lot of countries. One of those events was the Tiger 3 operation 3 years ago, where 17 countries were covered, 21 ports, and it was ahead the FIFA World Cup in 2014, and it was a huge success. The main focus was also on the sporting goods industry, and we were able to seize more than 25 million articles during those 5 days, and it shows that if there's cooperation and if really all the parties involved are working together, you can get really good results. Same thing happened in Brazil directly, where with funds from the European Union, from the right holders, the companies that are sponsoring the football teams participating in the World Cup, we organized together with Brazilian authorities the Goal 14 event, not as successful as the WCO event, but still we were able to seize a lot of fake football jerseys during that period of time. Our very recent project, also with funds from the European Union, from the European Trademark Office, OHIM, we will come up with an anti-counterfeiting campaign, an Unreal campaign. We know that a lot of other organizations, federations have their own campaigns. Now the sporting goods industry will also come up with something like that. We already did something similar in Latin America, not only with the sporting goods brands, but with befriended companies, a brand owners group, regular meeting in Panama. And this is quite kind of the same concept. The target group are young people. We try to reach them through social media with a funny campaign, score the real thing, with a funny character who will teach and educate youngsters why they should not buy counterfeit stuff. Other public-private cooperations already mentioned today is with Europol, with Interpol, with US Immigration, Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security. There are big operations jointly done with these authorities, and I think Travis also mentioned the takedown of the fake websites. I will not concentrate on fake websites now, even though it is also a huge problem for our industry. Coming back to the main task of our federation, what we do is lobbying. the European legislator, we have a new legislation when it comes to customs enforcement. We have a new trademark legislation. And the last 3 years, we were heavily lobbying the European Parliament, the member states, the Council in Europe to regulate what can be done with goods in transit. Before 2011, it was not a problem in Europe to have goods seized that are being in transit. And we had big seizures. And because of a very detrimental decision of the European Court of Justice, which said that goods in transit cannot be seized if the trademark owner is not covered by its trademarks in the country of destination, customs stopped any kind of seizure when it came to goods in transit. We face the same problems in Latin America. We have, on a regular basis, we have seizures in Mexico, in transit to other Central American countries like Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and we are not able to stop these goods in Mexico. Of course, we try to get them in the countries of destination. The majority of cases are just being lost because we just don't find the products anymore. So what we did in Europe is we heavily lobbied the authorities, the parliament, to come up with this legislation, and we succeeded. So since March 2016, this month, authorities are again able, and now it's really implemented in our legislation, to seize goods in transit. And this would be something that right holders would also appreciate in Latin America, and I would be more than happy if one or the other organization would take this up and try to have it done in Latin American countries as well. Another example which is quite helpful for right holders is the simplified procedure. And of course, as an in-house counsel, I have to meet budgets. I would love to follow up each and every case. And the good thing in Europe is that we have the simplified procedure, which allows us with a very simple administrative procedure to seize goods without any criminal complaint, civil action, unless the importer opposes the detention of the goods. And since the landscape when it comes to the importation of counterfeits has dramatically changed, also due to all these fake websites and auction platforms, we have to deal with small consignments instead of big container seizures. It is quite a hassle for a right holder to take a decision to follow up each and every case when the only option or when the only options are either the criminal procedure or a civil case. It's costly, it's lengthy, you have to give evidence. We just had a case in Jamaica where I had to give a statement, an expert statement, criminal procedure. I sent the expert statement. The expert statement was contested by the other side because they said it's no evidence if you just look at pictures, and you have to come over and make a physical inspection of the goods. So it becomes more and more complicated for a right holder to follow up all these criminal cases. So apart from the fact that we have to seize goods in transit, a simplified procedure in some of the jurisdictions in Latin America would be as well very helpful. I'm done. Thank you. You need the mic.
Thank you, Neil. Well, there's very little time left for a round of questions, pero sí, vamos a abrir la sesión de preguntas. Una breve, por si alguien quiere hacer preguntas a uno de los panelistas.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentations. Neil, where do you draw the line? You started discussing this, but I would like to know, for instance, you have your primary trademarks, which are the Puma and the Cat. I'm sure you have tons of secondary brands, which are very well known of your company's collections. And I'm sure you have a bunch of sports figures that endorse your products. What about if Puma or the Cat, or maybe something similar to the Cat, are not in the product, but is still the secondary brand or the name of a famous athlete is applied to a product that looks very much like yours? Would you pursue actions?
Yeah, we have these cases. For instance, we have athletes and artists endorsing our products, like Rihanna on the fashion side, or for instance Usain Bolt as an athlete, and their collections where we are using as a licensee of our athletes that have also registered their trademarks. So, for instance, Usain Bolt is registering his name, his initials, whatever, as a trademark that we are allowed to use. And whenever we find products saying Usain Bolt, we would pursue these matters. Same with the nickname of Rihanna, which is Fenty. So most of our products that come up in her collection, she has her nickname trademarked, and whenever we find products only with Fenty and no other Puma trademarks, we will pursue this matter on behalf of our athletes or in cooperation with them.
Otra pregunta? Anybody else? Going once, going twice? No? Abo, Gus?
Neil, you were talking about simpler rules to destroy confiscated products. In Aruba, that's not that simple to destroy those products. But do you already have simple rules, or you're just working on it in Europe?
No, since almost 10 years, we have, since 2003, 13 years, we have the simplified procedure in Europe, which allows, with this procedure, to have the goods detained. Within 10 days, if there's no opposition by the importer, the goods can be destroyed without any further procedure. No criminal complaint, no civil action.
Is that for Europe or only in Germany?
In Europe. It's
in Europe.
EU legislation.
Oh, okay.
All member states.
All right, thank you.
And of course, this is very helpful for your wallet.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other question? No? Okay, gracias. Gracias a todos. Les invito para que se queden para la última presentación sobre esfuerzos internacionales para el combate a la falsificación. Y les prometo, en nombre del comité, que llegarán a la playa antes de que se baje el sol. Gracias.